Hello, this is episode 36 and we are doing Harry's favourite documentary series ever, The Imagineering Story.
I don't know what my favourite documentary series is. I don't really watch many. I guess,
You've watched a few, right?
Yeah. Chernobyl.
Oh, right.
Is that?
No, that's a drama, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's a drama based
no,
on,
Harry.
like,
no,
real
I'm
life.
sorry. What are you talking about?
What?
That's a true life based drama.
Yeah?
It's not a documentary,
It's
is
close
it?
enough.
No, it's not.
What's the difference?
Because the videos that you make are documentaries where you tell facts and you talk over stuff and you like have interviews with people. You don't go, oh, this is based on a story and now it's a documentary. That's so funny.
Pretty much is, though.
No, it's not.
You haven't seen it, though?
But I know of shows that do that and it's still not a documentary.
I don't watch much TV, man.
But it's a different style of like video, isn't it?
Don't watch much TV. Of course it is.
Wow.
It's not serious.
No, it's if you're watching like Chernobyl. Is it Chernobyl or Chernobyl?
Whatever you want.
That's like people acting and pretending to be
of course.
those people. Whereas documentary is
What about all
real
those-
and they're interviews.
What about all those plane crash documentaries where you get people have to reenact the plane crash?
Yeah, that's fine because that's a reenactment. Well, I can't believe you think that's a documentary.
In your definition, I don't think that's a documentary.
So
You've got actors in it.
that film called Sully is a documentary then.
Yep, sure. Might as well be.
I can't believe it.
Look, man, I don't watch much TV.
Clearly, do you know what a documentary is? Do you?
Well, do now.
Wow.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah. So, Imagineering Story.
Mm-hmm.
This is old news to all the Americans because it came out in November.
It is. So the TLDR of this is that Disney Plus is stupid.
Yep.
What? So there's a few layers to this. First of all, Disney is stupid because we didn't get it in the UK or like Europe until January.
March.
Was it March? Seriously?
Disney Plus?
Yeah.
What are you talking
March,
about?
sure.
It was when the lockdown happened.
Right, March.
And they released it on like the first day of the UK lockdown.
My times are all whacked.
Wow.
So there you go. We got it in the UK in March and it came out in America in
November.
November, sure. So that's the first stupid.
Fuming about that.
The second stupid is...
No, this second... I know what you're going to say.
I'm allowed to say
isn't
this.
a stupid.
This is a stupid.
No.
This is a stupid, and I'll tell you why it's a stupid. It's a stupid because
You haven't even said what it is.
they didn't release all the episodes instantly.
Yeah.
Which is only stupid because they're already out there. Sure, if the world was seeing it for the first time, fine, stagger it one a week.
Yeah.
But because all of the episodes were already played in America and other places, no, there is no point staggering.
I guess because like
we watched The Mandalorian
Alright.
illegally.
Can you calm
Right?
down? Yeah, because if you wanted to actually watch The Mandalorian and you lived in the UK, then you would have had all the spoilers already.
Exactly.
But for me, in terms of like the Imagineering or other stuff that I haven't already seen, it's good because we're in lockdown, so all you want to do is watch TV.
Yeah, that's because you've got no self-control.
Exactly.
Neither have I. But that's not...
The fact that it's staggered
not what I
means it's more special
No.
because every Friday we were like, oh my god, the next episode's out.
No. I want to watch it all in one go.
No, it was more exciting that way.
No. So there you go.
But we never do that anymore with TV. It's always like instant, isn't it?
If I
And
don't-
it's nicer when you have to wait.
I don't watch much TV, man.
Well,
So yeah, there you go. Two big problems already with this.
this episode is just going to be you shouting at me.
So there you go. So yeah, that's why we're recovering it so late.
Yeah, so the last episode was last Friday,
and
so a week ago.
Unlike The Mandalorian, I wasn't that interested enough to watch it on the internet when it came out in November.
Yeah.
So just kind of forgot about it. I didn't even realise it was a thing, honestly.
I only knew it was a thing when they promoted it when the release of Disney Plus was coming to the UK, and they put out those little videos that got everyone hyped.
There you go then.
Okay, so what did you think of it overall?
Well, it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Are they an hour?
An hour. Yeah, and they weren't even like 45 minutes. They were literally an hour, which I liked.
Okay, few points to...
Oh, God. Are you going to say anything good?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with something good.
Okay.
It was very good.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's all remember that as
really
we
enjoyed it.
move forward.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very interesting glimpse into the whole Disney shebang. the main points are the episodes were too short in some
What?
places. They were too short.
Oh, you mean they were too fast-paced?
Yes.
Right.
As in, there was so much they didn't talk about, which is a real shame because it could have been more nitty-gritty before it got boring,
Okay.
right? And I'm more talking, there's certain sections, like the first episode there's a few episodes that you could think, well, you could expand so much on this topic and really perhaps draw it out a little bit more.
Okay, but give me an example of that. Of something they missed.
With all of the bad parks in like the 2005 era,
Yeah.
they just quickly spoke about them.
Like what?
Like
Which ones?
DCA, Disney's California Adventure, like the Second Gate Paris Park. They didn't really talk about them or the development of them. They just went, this was a thing. It was bad,
But there was like
DCA
a
a bit
whole California Adventure thing about how bad it was.
Yeah, I know, but not to the extent of with the other big parks. They spent so much talking about them. Like, how much did Disneyland Paris get talked about in the episode? Loads.
Yeah, but
There was a lot of detail. But there's still interesting rides at these other parks, I feel like every park that they didn't like, they quickly glossed over.
Yeah, but...
And that even goes for the original
okay.
Hollywood studios, because they didn't talk about that for very long either. And that wasn't very good.
But, let me in. If Netflix came and said, Harry, we would like to make a documentary series about you, and we want you to make it, but we'll put it on Netflix, right? Would you include your personal your personal opinion, your bad videos? Would you talk about them?
Yes, because
For as long as your good videos.
everything's a stepping stone.
For as long as your good videos.
Everything's a stepping stone.
You would not talk about them for as long.
Sure, okay, not for as long.
It's
but
not like they literally had one line that went, oh, and then we built California Adventure and it was rubbish, and then they moved on. They showed you like what happened. They showed you why it was bad.
Yeah.
And how they wanted to try and change it.
I get it, but at the same time, it could have benefited from more depth.
But I really don't think
region.
that's interesting.
What do you mean it's not interesting? They did it for all the other parks, though.
Hello, look at this really bad ride. They already went through that.
Yeah, but that's
what was that dark ride they went through? The Hollywood one.
There's not all. Oh yeah.
They showed the whole of that ride and how awful it was.
Bits. It's not all. They're not all bad though. I don't know. I just feel like there definitely could have been more.
But there could have been more good stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. There could have been more in general. That was only
yeah, but
one point I could think of.
What? This is why I've seen a lot of people's opinions about this, and you've told me that people are saying they left stuff out.
They did.
What are you expecting, right? We're talking about 6 hours here.
Yeah.
This is Disney. Over like how many years? How are they meant to fit it all into six episodes?
They're not, right?
So you have to select things,
of course you do, but then there's you have to balance it, right? You want to make it a decent length where it's not too short but not too long, but you don't want to make it too short that you have to gloss over everything, or too long that you have to go into detail on everything. You need to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
I think that they were slightly off that
so
happy medium.
So you think 8 episodes and it would have been fine?
Yeah, something like that. 8 or 9. Right? Or you make the episode length vary.
No, I don't like that.
People do that.
I don't like that, though.
I like that because it makes sense. There's no point, because what you do is when you constrain yourself to an hour, you have to fill the void until you get to the hour. So you have to add. I need to add 20 seconds here to reach the hour.
Yeah.
So if you make it as long as you want, then you don't have to compromise on the storytelling. You just show what you want to show.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into a technical conversation. But like, I don't know if anyone else has seen Mrs. Maisel. But you remember that show on Amazon?
Yeah.
The director, producer, whatever, was given like full reign on how long her episodes were, and everyone said it just made it worse because when she was doing like Gilmore Girls, it was all like for TV 45 minutes of stuff, so she had to be like selective and choose the best things. But then she had Maisel and she just like included random stuff that no one even like, it didn't make sense, no one cared about it.
I don't think so.
I think
I didn't
when
get that
you
vibe
when
from
you
that
say
program.
like there's no limit, then people are just gonna throw stupid things
Black Mirror
in.
doesn't have a limit, and that was very good.
Yeah, but that's Black Mirror, innit?
But still, yeah.
Well, my other point on that is Disney made this documentary.
Yeah.
which is something everyone has to remember, because you're not going to make a documentary that shows how bad you are, like overly shows that.
Not if you're Disney, not.
No, but why would they? I just don't understand what people want.
No, of
Do you
course,
want
of
a
course.
documentary where they go, hello, this is all the things that we've ever done wrong,
No.
and we're going to tell you in excruciating
People
detail?
want a documentary that goes, hello, this is everything we've done.
But that's not how TV works, I don't think.
But that's how a real documentary, as someone who shoots a documentary, I understand that this is a Disney documentary for a Disney platform about Disney. But listen, Louis Theroux, when he makes his documentaries, right, he doesn't go in and put his personal agenda and bias in his shoots, does he?
No, because
Exactly.
that's his thing.
Because it's an unbiased documentary. Like most professional documentaries are usually, or try to be, unbiased.
But this isn't a documentary. This is them showing us what they do.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? If Louis Theroux made a documentary about his own life, he would leave some bad things out. Maybe, like, you know, to make him not seem like a total weirdo.
Well, that's...
He's not going to be like, hello, this is a really bad thing that happened to me.
It wouldn't surprise me if he included...
Yeah, but that's Louis Theroux.
Exactly.
But this isn't a normal situation like,
no,
I don't know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Tiger King, where the guy went in and like filmed all of his stuff.
Yeah, you do have to take it with a pinch of salt, right? And I totally appreciate that.
But who else could
no one,
make
because
that
it's Disney.
documentary? Exactly.
Disney wouldn't allow them to do it.
Exactly.
Because it's Disney.
So what I'm saying
Disney
is,
bad.
we have to be grateful that they even made it in the first place.
Yes, sure.
Because they're very secretive about this stuff, and they've actually revealed quite a lot of stuff.
Well, I wouldn't say that they've revealed anything technical.
Yeah, because they don't do technical, though, do they?
Yeah, what do you mean they don't do technical?
About roller coasters specifically.
Well, no, but about anything, animatronics or whatever.
Yeah, but
They're
not going to go, here's our
of course, but
pattern.
I don't think. Yeah, but I don't think they're being. You said they're being generous. I don't think it was generous. I think they were just
They
showing
showed
off
you behind the scenes
Yeah.
of how it happened.
Yeah.
How else would you know about that?
Don't know.
Exactly, and that's
Through
what
news
that's what
stories at the
everybody
time.
wants to know.
Yeah, but
Is
I
what
don't think
happened.
I don't think generous is the right word. They could have showed a lot more of the behind
God.
the scenes.
Okay, anyway, we're just gonna keep doing this forever.
It's true though. No, seriously, they definitely could have shown more.
Yeah,
about,
of course, but it's like where maybe they'll do season 2,
maybe they will.
where they do like
They
here's
can't
what
do a
we
season
missed.
2 because the whole thing had a narrative, and that's one of the problems as well. Is that every episode had a narrative, which was both good and also bad.
Was that your second point of why it was bad?
No, I don't know. I just thought this one.
Okay.
So every episode has a narrative and like a story, and its own unique story that it tells. Especially as you get towards the end, where you have the downward turn of the bad parks.
Yeah, why is that bad?
Then you have the redemption, and then you have the whatever the latest years are.
Yeah.
The only reason I say it's bad is because to try and tell that story arc, they take things out of chronological order. So they talk about some things before others,
Right.
and it really messes with the timeline.
Okay.
No, other people. I spoke to other people who've had this as well.
I know, but
Sometimes it's too jumpy and it becomes jarring. Where you're like, we're over here now. Oh, but no, now we're going back 5 years to that just to tell this narrative, and then we're going to go back forwards.
But I think that's because it's a very complicated story. They tried to do it chronologically, right? Which works fine for like Walt dying, the new guys coming in,
exactly.
blah blah blah.
For the
But
start,
then
it works.
when you get to the end bits, you can't just be like, oh, we'll just tell you this bit now while we're talking about Walt dying, but this comes back again later. Do you know what I mean?
no,
they can't do it like that.
no,
It's too complicated.
No, it's not. They
How
could have
is
done
it?
No, because as I said, purely they were trying to purely tell a narrative, so they would take moments in the timeline that was roughly around the region that they were looking for, and then use them to impact the storyline. The whole like Japanese earthquake probably wasn't in the right time on the grand scheme of things in chronological order, but they pulled it to give it that kind of impact at that moment in time.
Okay, I think
This
this
is very detailed review
No,
here.
I know.
Seriously,
but I think
you're the one who keeps trying to get me to explain my answer.
No,
I just want to gloss
I know,
over
but
them.
it's just so interesting that you're so opposite to me.
No,
They're trying to make a documentary that's exciting, that tells a story in itself, that makes it dramatic about what happened to their story, like in their whole lives.
This is why I said it's both good
Right?
and bad.
But But if they literally told you what happened in chronological order, it would be so dull.
No, but that's what they did at the start.
Because they probably don't
And it
know.
worked.
But because they
And
probably...
that's what most documentaries
Oh my God,
do.
can you let me talk? Because probably nothing happened like that where they had to rearrange it.
But they didn't.
Because it was so dramatic anyway of like, oh my God, Walt's dying.
They didn't have to change the narrative. The story, the narrative of each episode was the history, you know?
That's what I mean, it was dramatic in itself.
Exactly, whereas in the later episodes, they came up with a narrative
Because it's boring.
to suit what was going on.
Because what was going on was boring. That's what I'm saying.
Sure. Let's stop going into the nitty gritty. Anyway, look, the overall thing is, I think it was very good. I really enjoyed watching it, right?
Okay.
And it gives me, it gave me more respect for Disney as a place,
Me too.
right? That's the overall.
So
I only
would
get
you
into the
say...
nitty gritty because so many people won't. That's what I'm mean. I'm playing devil's advocate here purely because I think that most people who watch it are just gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, Disney, this was so good. I'm trying to be the opposite, just to give people a different spin.
Because you're a hater.
Well, not because I'm a hater, but
You
because
are.
I don't have the nostalgic bias that most people
Neither
have.
do I. I never
No,
went to Disney.
I know you don't.
I like Disney films, but not the parks. I've only been to
No, I
Disney in
know.
Paris. But I still think that it was a very good documentary.
So do I.
But I think... Anyway. I think the exact opposite of you.
No, you don't. Not all of the opposite. There must
no,
be
no.
some stuff you agree on.
No, I don't know. I just think you expect things to be so real all the time. You're telling me you think Chernobyl's a documentary. They've dramatised that
Of course they dramatised
so
it.
much.
Yeah,
and
of
then you
course
go,
they did.
yes, they shouldn't have dramatised the end episodes. It's like, well, what do you want?
It's
Do you want them to
interesting.
make it into a drama instead?
No.
And everybody play Walt and Roy
Well,
and everything?
No. You can't make that into a drama, though, can you? It doesn't really fit.
You could. You easily could. You could get people to play Bob
That'd be
Iger.
weird.
I bet someone's going to do it at some point.
That'd be really weird.
Anyway.
Don't like the idea of that.
Someone do it. You heard it here
Go on,
first.
you've written stuff down to topics to cover.
This is all in a very random order, so if you have any overarching thoughts right now...
Just generally.
Yeah.
Don't know, man. I knew nothing about all the Asian parks.
Yeah, that's something I put, actually.
Literally nothing.
We don't know anything about Disney
No.
at all, and I
Yeah.
don't think we realised that before we watched this.
See, I only care about parks that I think I'm going to go to in the immediate future,
Yeah.
and that doesn't include Disney.
But also, nobody really talks about the Asia parks. They say, "Oh yeah, Disney Sea's really good" or whatever, but you never really talk about the rides.
Yeah, because a lot of it depends on who you're in, whose networks you're in.
Yeah.
There's a whole
We're very distant from that, though.
there's enthusiasts, and even more so like UK enthusiasts and enthusiasts in general.
Yeah.
There's a whole different pool of people who are Disney enthusiasts.
Yeah. But not just parks, right? They're like the whole brand enthusiasts.
Yeah, but then there's parks as well.
Yeah.
And then there's American parks. And then there's Disney World.
Yeah.
So we're in the wrong place to...
Yeah, so you have to
truly-
forgive our ignorance on this, because literally, and there's some things we've said on the podcast that I thought, oh, we said that wrong. Like let's specifically talk about Mystic Manor,
Oh, yeah.
because a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Ratatouille, and we're like, oh yeah, they made the ride, what's
Came
the
up
word?
with the ride system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did, but it was
Apparently it was
opened
Mystic
a
Manor.
year after Mystic Manor.
So
I don't know how they spent like 300 million euros on it then. Jeez, that's a complete waste of money.
But again, maybe they do. Like I said when we were watching it, maybe they developed it at the same time.
In tandem. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as you said, as you've written down in the doc, that the Asian parks are very different to the American ones, and even Paris.
I think
They're all different.
but it was really interesting to watch, like how the relationship came about of them actually building those parks in the first place.
Well,
Like the Tokyo one, wasn't it? The
what you will learn,
government
Yeah.
got involved.
basically, every Disney park outside of America, excluding Paris, the government's practically begged Disney to build a theme park
Yeah.
there.
Hence the huge funding
Yeah.
and like support and everything.
Hong
Do you
Kong
remember?
built an island
I know.
for
I was
them.
just gonna say they were like, okay, we'll just create some new land for you.
It's like, what? And then obviously the people in Tokyo, whatever the company's called, I completely forget the name of.
Yeah.
they just spend billions
Mm-hmm.
of dollars on coming up with new stuff,
Yeah.
and spend so much money on development and R&D that then Disney just take over to the American parks,
Mm-hmm.
basically like free of charge,
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. The Asian parks are on a different level in terms of how much they
The
care,
detail in all of like
except for Hong Kong.
the new stuff, they like the castles and everything was mad. How they tried to like make it Chinese but not.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking how they got it wrong a lot of times, how to take American stuff and put it into that new country, especially in Paris.
Well, because Paris was there for... Yeah. So Japan, they wanted America, the American feel of it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they wanted. Whereas French people don't like anything except French things.
Yeah. And I can't work out why they didn't like go to a French company or something
Why they didn't
and be
yeah.
like, hello, what do French people like?
Yeah, why they didn't really seem to do much market research.
No. And they just went, hello, we're American, slap.
'Cause
The
they're
exact
probably-
same parks, just come in, go and enjoy it. And it's like, no, because
I
we don't
imagine
understand.
Because it went so well in Tokyo that they just thought...
Everyone loves America.
Exactly.
No thanks.
And then you learn that French people really don't.
Yeah.
And that's why, my friends, Disneyland Paris should be in any other European country but France.
If they built that in England, I don't think people would have cared that much. Like,
No.
they would have been fine with it.
They would have been very happy with it,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Seriously, I think
because
they really
also I think our cultures, out of all the European countries, I think England's the most similar to America.
Just think of how many families go to Florida
Yeah.
on holiday.
Exactly.
Purely to go to these like
Yeah.
Disney and Universal theme parks.
But I think in a way that's why maybe they didn't build it there, because then they'd lose all their tourism from the UK, or less. They'd have less of it because you'd more frequently go to like Disneyland
but
London.
then you'd talk about you have to try and make these parks different, which Disney tend to not always do, where
Yeah.
they put the same rides in each park. So if they did that, then perhaps they would have to think more about
New rides.
different rides in
Yeah.
the parks to get people to go, oh, I haven't been on this, so I need to go to America to experience it.
Yeah. Well, in a way, that's how it is now, because there's stuff at Disney Sea that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, the Asian parks don't count.
Yeah.
Well,
But even like,
Japanese, the Tokyo part doesn't count. 'Cause
but even the American ones are getting more varied now
a little bit.
with the Star Wars thing and everything.
I mean, there's a Star Wars, there's identical Star Wars lands in Disney World and Disneyland in America. And then Paris is getting a smaller version of Star Wars.
A rubbish version.
A condensed version.
Yeah. This is
Um,
the way with Paris.
Of course. At some point, depends, probably in ages time now, because of everything going on and how long it takes Disney to build a brick. So yeah. But no, I think there's two like regions. There's the Asian parks and then there's the American parks.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that ideas get ported from usually Asia into America.
Yeah.
With especially with Tron going over and stuff like that. So don't know.
I'd say the worst part was when they showed California Adventure, because I had never even I'd heard of it, but I didn't realise it was that bad. Like, it literally, when it came on, it literally didn't look like a Disney park. It wasn't
It's
a Disney
awful.
park. I don't understand. I literally don't get why that was the concept of that park.
Yeah, to build a theme park that's meant to give an authentic Californian experience in California.
Yeah.
Stupid. It was a compromise though, wasn't it? That's what they basically said, that they took the best ideas from all of these different competing Imagineering groups and just condensed them together.
Yeah, but that's so dumb.
Of course it is. That's
It
why it didn't
doesn't-
work.
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
Nothing about it was good until they started showing like the changes, and then it got a little bit better. But even then,
Yeah.
why would you go there?
Yeah. And then what they didn't say in that was that it was a park more focused on less rides and more...
Yeah, for adults.
Yeah, for adults.
Good one.
Yeah, more dining experiences and shops and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it barely had any rides in.
So
because it
what
wasn't
they're
meant to be.
saying is spend like hundreds of dollars to get in and then to go shopping.
Yeah, basically. So it was stupid,
I can't believe that.
really stupid. But then they put Cars Land in it, so it's a bit better.
The building of Cars Land was cool. The way they did all the mountains.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't know what you call them, but yeah, that whole ride looks pretty funky.
Yeah. I liked my favourite part, like general parts, was when you saw like the backstage stuff though.
Such as?
Well, the secret passage thingy underneath the park.
Disney World.
And then the Matterhorn bit where he showed you like the wall that they all signed.
Mm-hmm.
And the basketball hoop.
Yeah. No, it was cool to see the behind the scenes of that. Kind of only in the earlier episodes though, wasn't it? When you got further in, it was less about that and more about building rides.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm more interested in the building rides part, to be honest.
Mm.
The way that they built some of the rides and to see the actual kind of... I mean, you could probably see it on the internet, but I just haven't really been bothered to look for it. But seeing how the ride systems work and what they actually are and that kind of jazz was interesting. Specifically in the final episode, because as we got further in, there was more rides that we knew about or knew that existed and were excited to eventually experience in however many years.
Yeah.
But never looked at them.
No.
So we knew about them, knew what they were, but never really seen how they work or what they do.
We didn't spoil them at all.
No. So then when we were watching the final episode, obviously there was a lot about Star Wars and then the Avatar land, so Flight of Passage and stuff like that. So we had a lot of that kind of spoiled for us, but it wasn't too bad.
But it was exciting to spoil it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as kind of spoily as I thought it would be initially, especially Flight of Passage. It didn't really talk too much about how it all worked, but yeah, it's interesting to see how complex some of the stuff are.
It was cool when they showed you about the new Star Wars land.
Yeah.
And they showed you through all the different rooms, and we just kept looking at each other like, whoa.
Yeah.
Every time they revealed like a new thing. It looks mad.
Yeah, the mix of effects in Rise of the Resistance between like physical and screens and not screens but like projections or whatever they are is crazy, and how they've got laser blasts to actually kind of make holes in walls and stuff like that is mental. I don't know how the hell they've done that, but it looked really good. It didn't look like it was dodgy at all. So another
thing is like the evolution they showed you of how the animatronics developed over time. That was mad, because they showed you like the Lincoln one over and over again, and everyone was like shook by it who was like seeing it. And then they showed you like the new ones, and I genuinely was like, that looks real.
The Avatar ones.
It looks real.
Yeah, with the movement.
I don't understand.
It is pretty crazy. That's what you get when everything goes smaller, though. You know. Yeah.
But I wonder though, have they made ones? How many other than the Avatar ones have they made like that? That realistic?
There's the rocket animatronic, which isn't too bad. That's in the.
Rocket's
Guardians
that
of the Galaxy.
animal guy, right?
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy drop tower now.
Okay, but humans.
Yeah, but the Avatar ones aren't humans.
That's what I mean, because my point was...
I don't think they have.
They're huge, right? So what I was wondering while we were watching it is, did they use it for Avatar because the characters are huge, they're bigger than humans, so the machines fit into their size of head? Like, is it possible for them to do a human yet? Like a human
but
size?
They did Rocket. Rocket's tiny.
But was he that good?
Yeah. Doesn't always work, but he's good.
Okay.
Like, you know,
because I was worried that's why they chose Avatar.
No. Yeah, no. I don't know. I imagine so, that they can pull off humans, but then you kind of get into with the humans, it gets into a different story where you might make it look really, really close, but because it looks really close but not yet correct, it looks really wrong. Have you heard of that before?
Not yet correct.
So if you create like a face that's really close to a human's face but isn't quite right.
You mean in realism terms?
Yeah, it looks worse than creating something that is just completely wrong, because it's uncanny to the point where it looks really just wrong.
What?
It's hard to explain, but it's an actual thing.
Right. So you're saying if they achieve what they want to achieve and make it look like a real human, it's going to look strange.
They have to get it spot on, or it's going to look really weird.
So if it's like so close to being human, it just looks a bit creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If it's close but not quite there, it looks really creepy. But if it's spot on, it'll look fine. Whereas if you're talking about animals or random creatures that you don't really exist.
Because we don't know how they would move.
Exactly.
Right.
Then they don't have to be as accurate with it.
So they haven't done a human yet.
Perhaps.
Because they're still trying to get it right.
Perhaps. Because, you know, the Lincoln thing was
creepy as hell.
Yeah, but it wasn't really close. It was obvious that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Which it means that you can kind of distance
The model
yourself.
looks real.
Yeah,
but the
to a degree,
movement was like clearly
Yeah.
animatronic movement.
So perhaps that's why. Even the Belle, Beauty and the Beast, they're like cartoon humans, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which
Isn't there
weird.
a Frozen one as well?
Oh, there is a Frozen ride. I've got no idea about.
I think there's
animatronics.
animatronics in it.
Really?
Is it
Do
just
they project their faces on?
I think they're like statues. We're looking at the images of it. They look like statues, but then they project the faces on so that they move.
The face projection looks so awful in video. It's not. It's all right in person, but
Yeah.
in video it looks so bad. Just because I don't know. You can just so tell.
Yeah. So I guess.
But even then, they're not humans. They're like.
But if you tried
animated.
to make Elsa as a human, it wouldn't look like Elsa.
No, exactly.
So they're making it look like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Which
then
you
makes it a
couldn't
bit
you couldn't
easier.
really do with an actual animatronic. This is probably the best way to do it, by projecting their face.
Well, it might be. The other bits might be an animatronic.
Well,
But-
probably the whole like body
Mm.
moves,
Yeah.
but then they just project their face for the movement.
Yeah, because it's easier to project the face.
Hmm.
No, it does show you that the in the final episode, the rides that they're building are kind of a huge step up from the previous iterations. You know.
You mean the ones that are updating?
No,
like
no,
Tower
it's
of Terror.
no. Well, I guess, but the new rides, so
Right.
Star Wars and Pandora, are
Yeah.
so high up against the rest.
Mhm.
You know, a whole level above, which is crazy to think of. You know.
Did they have to remove anything to put the Star Wars land in?
Yeah.
What did they remove?
Uh, in Disney World, like the backlot tours
Okay.
and some other crap.
So maybe they have to make them so good because they're removing stuff that people will probably get mad about them.
They won't get mad
removing.
about that. They're all crap
Really?
rides. Yeah.
Yeah, but you never know.
Well, someone probably got mad, but they're
Yeah.
not great. So.
Okay. It was funny watching the bits where they said about people who, like, die-hard fans that were so, distraught when they changed stuff. Like the new Tower of Terror with the Marvel stuff on it.
Yeah, and this is something that annoys me, and I feel Disney are really going to struggle at some point if they don't decide to, because obviously with the Tower of Terror they decided to update it.
Mm-hmm.
Will they decide to update other rides to the same point? There comes a time when the original rides, the really old school rides,
Mm-hmm.
just really don't stand up anymore against
The
kind
new
of
additions.
Yeah, exactly. And there gets to a point in time when you've got no more space.
Yeah.
Do you rip out the old rides? Do you retheme the old rides? What do? Any kind of normal theme park usually would rip out the old rides and just replace them with new ones with a higher standard. Think Phantasialand. That's all they've been doing recently, isn't it? Taking out all the crap and just building crazy stuff on top.
Yeah.
But Disney obviously are more reluctant to do that. Because, as you said, they've got diehard fans who really appreciate the nostalgia of the old rides. So when do
But
they
then
give in?
this begs the question of your argument about Blackpool. You want to keep Blackpool because it's got retro rides.
So yeah,
So surely you'd want to keep
you cross
like
the
two
threshold.
of the main Disney rides.
You cross the threshold of old and then you go to retro.
Yeah.
But that transition is painful
Yeah.
between the two. And even I would rip out so much of Blackpool,
But I
even though
think
it's
that's
retro.
what they're doing is they're just selecting the rubbish bits
Yeah.
and replacing those, like you said.
I
But they're
know.
keeping the,
But stuff like
the Grand Nationals,
Pirates of the Caribbean, the one that we saw in Shanghai.
the rethemed one.
Not, it wasn't rethemed. It was built. Oh yeah, sorry, with a different, a
So
slightly different
the
theme.
new film from the Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah,
films.
it's more based on the films rather
Yeah.
than. But all of the additional effects, and they said they said that they wanted to make it more thrilling,
Yeah.
so they did. Will they ever do that to the other ones? Because the other ones compared to it will be so tame and
Rubbish.
Exactly. And
I don't know.
But then you get to the question of, well, are you just going to keep building the same rides in the same parks, just updating them, or are you ever going to try and build something new and innovative instead?
But what are you talking about? Because they're not building a new park, are they?
No, I mean in the same parks. Like,
right,
with
so
the amount of space,
the new additions that they're adding.
Yeah, with the amount of space that Pirates of the Caribbean takes up, you could rip it out and put something completely new in that hasn't been seen anywhere, or you update it. You know, and I think this is especially over the next maybe couple of years or
we get to
couple of
see their
decades.
game plan.
Exactly, about do they just continue to fix them and kind of keep them going?
But I think what they're trying to do is, because they have got replicas, they're updating one of them. So say they update Tower of Terror,
Yeah,
right, to show everyone this is how good this ride could be, and look how rubbish the old one is compared to this. So that in the future, when they go, hello, we're getting rid of the old Tower of Terror at Disneyland Paris, everyone goes, okay, cool, because, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is so much better.
perhaps.
So less people will be annoyed that they're ripping out a classic. Because you have to show, like, that gives them a direct comparison of, like, where the level of quality is. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they're going to rip them out. Or if they're just going to go around and keep upgrading each one.
Yeah, I think that, I guess the biggest part with that problem is the original, you know, because I imagine...
Maybe they keep the original.
Well, maybe they keep the original Disneyland
And don't touch
and
it.
kind of as an old school, where they
Yeah.
just keep updating the same rides.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the right move. I think that's you always have one park that's always stuck behind the others.
Yeah. And that's
And that doesn't
not
seem right.
what Walt wanted.
No, exactly. He wanted it to be updated as it went along.
It has to be relevant.
Exactly. But you do have to strip stuff out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've already done it in the past, obviously, as you were saying with Star Wars, they had to take out rides to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
But I think,
those were crap anyway.
I think they're not at the point at the minute where they have to get rid of good stuff. It's not like Phantasialand where they don't have enough room and they have to go, which one are we going to take out now? They've got stuff where they can build on top of rubbish stuff before they get to that point.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be an issue for a while.
It's going to be interesting to see how they pull it off.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they'll make a documentary about it.
Come on,
Okay.
Let's go questions.
Let's do opinions first.
Between opinions.
This is what people said about it.
Oh, right, sure.
So this is your opinions of the series.
Taylor Bybee, it was amazing. Thank you, Taylor. Very
Yeah.
cool.
The bottom line is everybody liked it.
Of course I liked it. It was enjoyable.
Everybody loved it. Michael says, we really enjoyed it. I haven't been to any Disneyland in nearly 20 years, but it's made us want to go again. I loved seeing all the work that goes into creating all these attractions and underappreciated art.
Definitely.
John says, thought it was excellent, but greedily think now they could have spent a lot more time going into the creation of the more recent parks and additions.
Definitely.
He's going to agree with everyone's
Well,
points.
that's right. It's true. He's got a good point there.
The thing is, like, how much did they actually film?
Don't know.
Maybe it's because they literally just didn't film stuff.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It could have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there could have been that they just didn't film stuff retrospectively, so they only talked about what they could.
Yeah.
Which is, totally valid.
Cheap says, this series made me appreciate the Disney parks on a different level. I loved seeing the journey from making small-scale models of rides to the installation of the rides themselves. I love to see the whole development process of other rides too.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool how you saw the little models of everything.
Yeah.
It's just mad that they like model
I
it
know.
and then they just make it.
It is pretty crazy.
Jack says, I'd love it if they did a follow-up series about each new ride that they've built, just to hype up the new additions even more.
You know, I think that if they did a follow-up series on the rides that they're building now,
What?
some of the big rides that
Each
they're building
ride?
now, not each ride, but perhaps, well, you could do an episode per ride of the big major additions that
Yeah.
are occurring over the next few years. So Guardians of the Galaxy Coaster at Epcot, you know, even Star Wars Land, perhaps. I don't know if they wanted to go into that any more detail.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting.
But I think they will, because this series is so successful.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
And it's what made a lot of people get Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So
A lot of other parks have been making of series, right? Where
Yeah.
they show you the progress through a project. And they're really interesting. So.
and they've been making like different documentaries as well about
Yeah.
the people who work at Disney and different like, aspects of it all. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're getting into documentaries. Mark says the Tokyo earthquake and reopening was fascinating and has made me think about how we'll all feel when the parks reopen.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird moment.
Yeah, because that they shut it for how long? When the earthquake happened in Tokyo?
A month and a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so
Think.
when that footage of everyone running into the park
Yeah.
and like going mental,
It's weird.
that's gonna be, you know, the whole world everywhere, not just Disney. Jamie says, I liked the parts and wanted more of when they actually showed behind the scenes of the ride systems and how it worked. The entire series just felt like Disney congratulating themselves on how good they are, rarely admitting mistakes and just glossing over them when they did.
I do agree.
We've had this argument now.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true that the whole series is them just kind of patting themselves on the back, which is fine, but they could have, one, dialed it in a bit more. You could have made a series that wasn't so kind of, oh, well done for doing this, you know, you've been so successful.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
No. I understand your point and Jamie's point. That's what they did, right? Bottom line, that's what they did.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're allowed to.
Of course they are.
And also, if you don't like it, don't watch it then.
I mean,
it's made for people who love Disney
course.
and who appreciate Disney and think they should celebrate.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Then this is just going back to, you know, what the core aspects of a documentary is. And if you...
It's not a documentary. We should rename it.
What is it?
It's a diary. That's
diary.
what it is, though, isn't it? It's
Sure.
basically a diary in video form.
Yeah, so this is it. It's...
I think documentary is a very wrong word to use for this.
Kind of.
It's not a documentary. It's them telling you what they did.
Yeah. No, I do agree with Jamie, though. I would have liked to have seen the version of the Imagineering series not made by Disney. Definitely would have liked to have seen it. Because I think it would have been, well, in my mind, it would have been more detailed and not as biased. So they would have gone over everything in detail rather than bigging up the rides that were successful, the parks that were successful, and then pushing down the ones that weren't. Obviously, we're not going to see that.
I just have an issue with this because is this not the most successful theme park business in the world?
Yes.
So who else has the right to celebrate themselves?
But if you had a lot of money, then I wouldn't.
But what I mean is like.
Yeah, sure.
Who else can do that? Like, at what point do you want these people to be gods? Like, what?
No, I want them to be humble about what they do.
They're not. They're not humble, though, are they?
No, but they should be.
No, I don't think they should.
They should.
Look how successful they are.
Yeah, but
I don't think it was overly like. It wasn't overly in your face. We're amazing. It had a slight slant towards. Let's celebrate what we've done over the years. I don't think it was that bad.
I appreciate them celebrating what they've done. You can pull that off without having the undertone of we're amazing, you know.
Well, what undertone would they have?
I don't know, but
that's what I don't get.
You definitely could do it. Other people have done it. They could have chosen to take that spin. They obviously didn't. They made a conscious decision.
Yeah, they could have hired someone to come in and make it for them.
Well, they already did, most likely.
Yeah, but then why don't they get a say on how their story is portrayed?
They do, and they did, and they chose consciously
so
to pat themselves on the back. It was a conscious decision.
I really don't understand this
worse.
argument.
No,
What are you expecting to do? Go and say, okay, hello, make this documentary, but make us seem really bad.
No, but you can be a very successful person without literally, you know, begging for attention every 5 seconds. You can do that. People do that. People are that.
But what I'm saying is,
it's possible.
I don't think. Before you told me everyone's opinion about it and how you thought they'd pat themselves on the back every half an hour, I didn't think that at all. I just thought, wow, that was a cool documentary and I really like how they did that. I literally didn't get a tone of, we're so great and look at us. I didn't get that at all.
Too drawn in.
Because they are amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's why.
But
if some company like Blackpool had gone, hello, this is a documentary. Look how great Grand National is. Look how great River Caves is. I'd be like, excuse me?
I think.
But it matched what they are.
What would have helped is that they maybe would have focused on how great the people, the individual people, how great they are.
You don't think they did that?
Yes and no. I think they should have swung more of a focus on the people who made these projects were the amazing people, and not the fact that it was kind of the whole thing.
I'm genuinely confused by your argument.
Sure.
I'm going to watch this again because
go for it.
I can't get behind this idea that they did a bad thing when they made this. That they went, hello, we're so great. Like, I literally don't get it. Jack says, personally loved the series but took issue with how they omitted lots of technical details like Arrow and Vekoma's heavy involvement.
Yeah, man.
You said this when we were watching it. They didn't talk about roller coasters at all.
They didn't talk about specific companies who help produce any of the stuff at all.
Yeah. But I think
Which was
because
rude.
who cares about Vekoma?
Rude. Yeah, but Arrow, man.
Who cares about Arrow?
Everyone who likes modern day roller coasters.
Mm.
It was a
But
bit of a
I
shame.
don't know how interesting that would be on a general scale.
Yeah, of course.
If they made a roller coaster documentary,
It's just a bit of a shame that they didn't nod to it.
mm.
That would be the nice thing.
Is there some like is there like beef with them
No.
and Vekoma?
They still use them.
But is there like
the
a
new roller coaster that's going to Epcot is a Vekoma?
Yeah, they're still using them. But I
don't
mean,
think
is there
so.
like a thing where maybe Vekoma didn't really want to do it or what?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it was very Disney centric, and that was probably why it wasn't involved.
Oh my god, this argument is actually annoying me. Of course it's Disney.
yes.
It's about Disney.
Of course it
what
is.
do you want?
I
It's
know.
not a Vekoma
No,
documentary.
of course, but doesn't mean you can't acknowledge the people who helped you get there.
Oh my god, you're very biased
What do you mean I'm very
towards
biased?
roller coasters.
No.
That's like saying they didn't actually talk about the suppliers of their concrete.
No.
And they didn't say, you know, thank you to so and so concrete suppliers for giving us their concrete. What are you talking about? That's just one aspect of it.
Of course, right, definitely. But there would have definitely been more outside people across all of the parks, you know, who had a heavy involvement in the design or implementation of certain rides or attractions that they just completely ignored.
Yeah, because it's not interesting.
To you, maybe.
Yeah, to the general public, that's not interesting. And who's it for? The general public.
Sure. I don't think it would have been too difficult to include that.
But what are you going to say? Hello, Vekoma built this ride and then we put it in. But is there actually anything interesting to talk about?
What? There is with Arrow, at least. It was one of the first major uses of steel tubes
What, at Disney specifically?
in the world of roller coasters.
Yes, but was a Disney ride the first ride?
One of the first. Yeah.
One of.
Yeah.
So not the first.
Matterhorn bobsled was one of. It was probably the first major use of steel.
But didn't they
tubes.
talk about the Matterhorn one?
They did a little bit.
Yeah,
but
they talked about the ride.
yeah, kind of.
They did. They literally did.
I know, but
remember
they
that
made it
now.
out like they made it because the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I've designed it like this and that."
But wasn't that an Arrow guy?
I don't think so.
Who was the guy then?
I think it was the Disney guy.
And he said, "I made this roller coaster like this."
Yeah, he was.
I designed
he was
this
saying
roller
that
coaster.
he yeah.
But how do you know he didn't?
Well, he probably did do the layout, didn't he? But
Yeah.
this is why it'd be appreciative to be like, oh yeah, an Arrow. This company called Arrow helped.
So you want them to literally say the name Arrow and then you'd be happy?
Yeah, even just once, just literally acknowledge it. Especially with Arrow, the others not so much. But
This is very frustrating conversation.
anyway, let's move on to questions. Thomas says, at any point did you think the series was boring? No.
No, neither.
Theme Park Photography says, is it worth watching? Yes. Stan says, what did you find most shocking or eye-opening about the documentary?
I was really shocked about how they bigged themselves up
I was
so
going to say,
much.
I was shocked about how bad the bad parts actually were.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't realise that they were
Yeah.
that bad.
California Adventure was a moment
Mm.
where I was like, what is happening?
And then how detailed Paris was and how they spent so much money
Yeah,
making this really beautiful park and then no one
Yeah.
wanted to go.
human.
Sucks to suck. Yeah, I honestly think I think those two main points.
Yeah, and then watching the last episode where they
Mm.
revealed all the cool rides.
And Lush Velvet Coaster says, my favourite episode was definitely the one about Animal Kingdom. Which was your favourite? Oh, right, the one where they built Animal Kingdom and the tree and all that.
Yeah.
What else did that have in it? Talk about the animals, didn't it?
Wait there.
Have you got a summary?
From Wikipedia.
What a nerd.
So that was number 4, the one with Animal Kingdom. I liked that one as well because that was Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah. No, I think my favourite was definitely the final one.
I don't know about a favourite. I like them all.
Mm.
Even the first one, which is like a lot of the information I already knew from other documentaries, but it was quite nice to have it like all in one place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow,
There you go.
that was a long, stressful episode.
Just trying to bring you different opinions, man. See, if you went on a Disney podcast, all you'd hear is, "Oh, that was so great! I love this bit. I love that bit." You know, and we're given two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
There's always two sides of the coin.
No, and I appreciate what you're saying, right? but I think you're loving this and taking it to an extreme.
I love playing devil's advocate,
Exactly.
and that's exactly what I'm doing.
But
I'm given
do you
the chance
actually
to.
believe that or not?
Yes, but not as much.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
How much do I believe what I
how
been
much
saying?
do you believe that they big themselves up too much? 7.
With what? 5 being... I don't know, what's your scale?
0 is...
Not at all.
I don't think they bigged themselves up
Yeah.
to an extent where it was obvious.
Right.
And 10 is like...
They really did.
That was so biased, it's unreal.
Yeah, 6.
You
Mid.
just said 7.
6 or 7.
Okay.
Middle. Just a bit more than middle. I think it was.
I'm a 2.
Sure.
I don't think... we're just going to repeat what we've said
Exactly,
already.
you are,
but
so stop.
I just can't understand. Why does everyone have to be so critical all the time?
No, but-
Can't we just appreciate it?
You know me though, right?
I know you, but I'm surprised that everyone else is joining in with you.
I am the person who doesn't care about nostalgia.
Neither do I.
No. You do really. You do.
I care about Disney.
Exactly.
And I
don't.
appreciate what they're doing.
I don't really care about many
So,
companies.
it's okay. Just one more last final point. If Alton Towers made the same... They made a documentary about themselves.
Yeah.
Or a diary about themselves.
Yeah.
And they bigged them up to the same extent. Would you be like, yes, that is
No.
so good?
No. They deserve to even less.
So what are you talking... Why...
What do you mean?
That's your nostalgia.
What? I just said no.
I know, but you should... What I'm saying is that's wrong. You should be nostalgic about Alton Towers.
No, so there's a difference.
So you're just a robot.
I would like Alton Towers to do well because it's a park that I go to a lot.
Yeah.
If I was in Florida and I lived in Florida, I would want Disney to do well because they would be parks that I would visit a lot and I would want them to install new attractions regularly.
Why are we talking about this?
Because there's an agenda. I have agendas. I don't have nostalgia.
So you care about towers for your own personal benefit?
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly. That is exactly the case.
That is the funniest thing. That is so selfish.
Well,
Do you not care about the company at all?
what? Merlin as a company?
Yeah. That's like me saying, I only care about Disney because I want to go to Disney.
They do good and bad things. Every company does good and bad things. There's no perfect company, is
God,
there? So.
Harry.
Don't know.
Can't you just love something?
I appreciate unbiased things. I
know
appreciate
you
when people give both sides of...
Hence your whole YouTube channel.
Exactly, and I really hate it when people shove an agenda and shove, one side of the argument.
Yeah. No. Ordinarily, I would. But they made
I know,
the
but
documentary.
just because they made it doesn't mean they couldn't make it unbiased. As I said, they consciously chose to.
And I think that's normal.
I think it is normal as well, but I would appreciate...
And I think you're lying if you said you wouldn't do that to yourself.
I would appreciate it if they toned it down a little bit. That was it.
I think the tone was fine.
No.
It's a great documentary.
It is a great
/ diary. You should go
Slash
watch
diary.
it. And I'd say it's worth 50 quid getting Disney Plus to watch that.
What do you mean? Just buy a month. Can you not
do you
do
mean buy a
rolling
month?
monthly? Do you have to lock
Oh
in for
yeah,
a year?
I think you can get a month.
There you go. Just
So
watch,
get yourself a month.
pay, I don't know, like £6.
6 quid, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. £6 to watch a whole series.
Yeah.
That's pretty worth it. And then while you're at it, watch The Mandalorian. That's good as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Alright, bye.